Well, to speak more on this report, Awal Rafsanjani, Head Transparency International Nigeria, joins me now live from Abuja. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, this report is definitely not a good representation of Nigeria. I mean, to have the 154th position out of 180. But could you tell us, how deep would you say corruption is eating into the country for this figure to have been released?
Thank you very much, and good evening, viewers. Corruption in Nigeria, everybody appears to know and acknowledge and appreciate the fact that we are in big problem in this country, because virtually every public sector is embedded with corruption in Nigeria. And even government that usually used to dismiss and deny those allegations or those observations by Nigerians, they themselves now they are seeing it with their naked eyes. So corruption has destroyed our safety and security because of the too much corruption in the security sector. We have seen how corruption has also affected our education in Nigeria. We have seen how corruption has destroyed healthcare system in the country. We have seen how corruption has destroyed value system and morals in the society. There's nothing like ethical value in most of the public offices. You have seen how for you to get even appointment, merit is no longer there. You have to procure, you have to buy. And if you are recruited as a security officer, you have to pay bribe to get recruited. You have to pay bribe to be posted to what they call lucrative places. You have to pay bribe to even get your due promotion. So corruption has eaten up everywhere, and the only way out of this is for the government at local, state, and national level to be more honest, more sincere, and more committed to fighting corruption. Now, the challenge you have with the Bari administration fight against corruption is that this is limited only to the to Abuja, and you have 36 states of the federation that they are not in tandem with what the president is talking about. You have legislature, you have the judiciary, you have local government. All of them are not brought under one roof to fight corruption in this country. So corruption cannot be fought by just one individual or one or two person. It has to be a collective effort and collective responsibility. We acknowledge the effort that many of the anti-corruption agencies are making in the country, even though their effort is also being watered down or is being abused. When they do the work, put their lives at risk, then those criminals, those people who have been convicted, they will now be released on the basis of political consideration. Now, look at the political process that we are going into the country now. Because everything has been commercialized. So the party nomination, the party politics has also become totally commercialized, and it's only when you have, questionable resources that you can even partake in as smallest position in the country. So, therefore, it's not by surprise that corruption, fight against corruption has stagnated, because political corruption is one of the major stumbling block to fighting corruption in Nigeria. And those benefiting from this corruption, who happen to be some of them in government, and they even speak on behalf of government, they will always dismiss that there's a corruption, when we say there's a corruption in the country, rather than asking, how do we overcome this corruption issue? They will rather be insulting and abusing human rights, anti-corruption activists who are fighting corruption in Nigeria. So
Now,
Nigeria.
sorry to interrupt you there. You're talking about party politics. Some have attributed this fall in ranking to President Buhari's pardon of two jailed former governors, Joshua Darie of Plateau State and Jolly Inyame of Taraba State, in 2022. Now, quickly tell us briefly, do you agree with this?
Absolutely, I totally agree, because the nation has spent a lot of resources to investigate and eventually found them guilty. They are supposed to serve as deterrent for other corrupt officials, but Buhari administration decided to grant them pardon. And we were just wondering all the effort, all the sacrifice that the anti-corruption agencies have made to bring this to justice, and then you, just because of political consideration, you pardon them. Again, in addition to all this, you also see that the way a manner in which abuse of due process, abuse of judicial pronouncement, and then even the integrity of the judiciary itself, which is also one of the major things that is making us to actually decline. It has to be addressed. So therefore, it is important that we recognize as a nation, as a country that really sincerely want to fight corruption, that fighting corruption is not propaganda. It is by ensuring that we have policy and legal framework in place and compliance with those legal frameworks in place. That's how you can be able to, and by carrying along everybody from
Well, indeed,
Makani to
our
Shume
Rafsanjani, I'm
to yeah,
sorry, it's just much you can take on the matter, but Rafsanjani, Head Transparency International Nigeria, thank you very much for your time and the contribution. Thank you.